Looking at the content queue, we're going to have 6 examples of how it interacts with user input, as well as how it interacts with the autoplay feature. LFI is the large featured item where one of the queues will exist. For our first example, we will look at the LFI with autoplay turned off. This is the most simplistic version of a content queue that you can imagine. So the user turns the television on, the home screen loads, the wake show is available, the user navigates over to the wake show, selects the wake show then plays all the way until completion, and the user is returned to the home screen with the second item of the queue being available. That item is Get Online with MedallionNet. In the second example, very similar, except now we have autoplay turned on. The user turns the television on, the wake show is available, and in 3, 2, 1, the wake show starts to play. The user watches for a brief moment and decides, I'd like to see this in full screen. They then navigate over and select the wake show. It goes to full screen. And after some time, it plays to completion, and the user is returned to the home screen with Get Online with MedallionNet, the third item in the queue being available. Excuse me, the second item in the queue being available. I also chose 3 seconds as the amount of time for the video delay. That amount of time should be configurable. The third example, LFI with auto is on with a delay. Multiple full screen videos will play. The user turns the television on. The wake show is available. And in 3, 2, 1, the wake show starts to autoplay. The user then decides to navigate over to the wake show and select the wake show to go to full screen. The wake show plays till completion. And then Ocean Trek Season 1, Episode 2 starts to play. In this example, Ocean Trek Season 1, Episode 2 is the second item in the queue. It plays to completion. The user returns to the home screen, and they see that the third item in the queue is available. That is Get Online with MedallionNet. There's a question there, I'm sure. We'll come back to that in the fourth example. The fourth example is a much more realistic example than number 2 and 3 in that it shows an interruption in the chain of events. The user turns the television on. Wake show is available, and in 3, 2, 1, the wake show starts to play. The user then decides to navigate over to the wake show, but they don't yet select it. The video plays until completion. Upon completion, the second item in the queue starts to play, and that is Ocean Trek Season 1, Episode 2. The user decides, this content looks very interesting, I'd like to see it in full screen. They select full screen, and the content continues to play from where they left off in the thumbnail version. It plays till completion, and upon completion, the third item starts to play. That item is Get Online with MedallionNet. The user decides, I already own MedallionNet. I don't need to continue to watch this video, and they hit the stop button. This represents a more realistic action. In the previous examples, I glossed over how we get out of those examples. The user is going to hit stop. They then return to the home screen. Get Online with MedallionNet is still available, as it is the thing that was playing, the third item in the queue. If the user were to select from here, the video would begin playing from where they left off. There's a question that will be addressed in the sixth example from this point. The fifth example, non-LFI is selected, LFI auto on with delay. What does that mean? So the user turns the television on, the wake show is available, and in 3, 2, 1, the wake show starts to play. After a moment, the user decides that they want to know what this Ocean Now thing is in the bottom right corner of the screen. They navigate over to it. They select that. This represents a non-LFI queue. the Ocean Now video plays until completion. It tells them about how Ocean Now is Uber Eats for the ocean, and then it returns them to the home screen. You'll note that there is no autoplay option for this queue, as there is only an autoplay for the LFI. When the user gets back to this home screen, they see that they now have a new option in the bottom right corner, and that is how MedallionNet works. That is the second item of that content queue. After 3, 2, 1, the LFI queue, which is set to autoplay, autoplays. I have a red question mark in the bottom corner here, as that's a behavior that we have discussed but haven't really landed on exactly how that should work. From a development standpoint, it's probably simpler to just say anytime the home screen loads, if there's autoplay for the LFI, play it after the given delay. However, for user experience purposes, we probably should consider if that behavior only happens on the first time that the user reaches the home screen for that viewing session. Viewing session is marked by an on and an off state of the television. One more example of that. Let's see. LFI auto with delay, navigate away, navigate back. The user turns the television on. The Wake Show starts to play in 3, 2, 1. The Wake Show is playing. The user says, "Oh, look, honey, there's movies and television available. Let's go check that out." They look over there and say, "Wow, there's a lot of content here, but I still want to go back to that home screen and see what else is there." So they navigate back to the home screen, and they land on this view. The Wake Show is available, and in 3, 2, 1, the Wake Show starts to play again from where they left off. The question is, should it start to play again, or should it respect the fact that they have navigated away and thus decided not to continue with the autoplay? Let's have that conversation.